every day, but especially today, Memorial Day, the title I am most proud of is Gold Star Father. I'd like to recognize the purpose of today, to honor and remember those who have given their life for their country. However, I would be remiss if I didn't recognize others that have given much for their country, and we call them veterans. I'd like to recognize all the veterans that are here today. I would also like to recognize all the veteran families that are here today, because they also sacrifice so much for our country. And as we come back to the meaning of today, for some veteran families, such as ours, we pay the ultimate sacrifice. Today I want to point out two conflicts. First, the Korean War, sometimes, and I think shamefully, called the Forgotten War. No episode in our history where men sacrificed their lives for their country should be forgotten. And secondly, I want to acknowledge the Vietnam conflict. This is very difficult for me to talk about. I am so ashamed of our country, for our country. Gentlemen, it is far too late to say this, but to all the Vietnam vets, I say from the bottom of my heart, welcome home. It is these Vietnam vets that are making sure that honor is being paid to every fallen hero that returns today. An honor that was never paid to their fallen comrades. And yet through their service organizations, like the VFW, American Legion, AMVETS, DAV, and many more, and through organizations like the Patriot Guard Riders, no hero comes home without honors. Why? Because they remember. We have days set aside to honor veterans in their service to their country, but today is not one of those days. Today is Memorial Day, a day of remembrance. Today is the one day of the year which is set aside to honor and remember those that gave their last full measure of devotion for their country. I have to tell you that almost 10 years ago, never in my wildest imagination would I have thought that this is where I would be today. I've done some public speaking, and I'm a patriot. I love my country and believe it can return to the great country that it once was, but that's not what I'm talking about. I mean the title Gold Star Dad. My name is Kevin Graves, and I am the proud father of Specialist Joseph A. Graves. My son Joey fought for his country, and on 25 July of '06, he gave his life for his country. Just as Isaiah responded to God in the Old Testament, when Joey was asked by his country, "Whom shall I send?" he responded, "Here I am, send me." These are the words printed on a wall at the Military Police Memorial Grove in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. There are rows of pavers around the wall, and on one of those pavers, there are a set of crossed pistols, the insignia of the MPs, and the words, Specialist Joseph A. Graves, OIF, 25 July, '06. Above that paver on the wall are the words, send me. That's what all the young men and women of today's military say. Send me. They volunteer to serve their country. And so as we gather for this Memorial Day, let's also remember and pray for those that are currently serving. When I speak about my son, I speak on behalf of the close to 7,000 families that have a similar story to tell. Families whose children went to war because our country was attacked on 9/11. This day is not just about Joe. It's about all our heroes. But I've been asked to share a little bit about Joey's story with you. It is brief. It is far too brief. Joseph Anthony Graves was born on 28 December 2004 in Castro Valley. His mother, Marianne, and I were blessed with a happy, healthy boy. His mother and I separated when he was 3, and he lived with her for about 6 years. When Joey was 9, his mother and I decided he should come live with me. For the next 9 years, I raised my son as a single parent. These were the greatest years of my life. Joe and I were truly best friends. We shared everything together and fully participated in each other's lives. He taught me to be a parent, as I taught him to be a young man. Joey's understanding and acceptance and his love of Christ blossomed at this time. He was also active in our church and took a leadership role in the youth group. But it was at 17 years of age, much to my surprise, when he decided to enlist in the Army through the delayed entry program. I was proud of him and loved him very much for the decisions he was making. However, this did not keep me from interrogating Joey's recruiter for 3 hours before signing the papers that put him in the Army. But I was extremely proud. He chose the military police because his goal was to be an FBI field agent. Graduated from Liberty High School in Brentwood with a 3.8 GPA. I really thought we'd be talking about what college campus he would be going to, not what Army base he would be serving at. He could have gone to college anywhere he chose, yet he was pretty much a regular kid, except that he chose to fight to protect our freedoms. He went to basic at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. After completing basic, Joey went to jump school and he got his wings. He then did his first deployment in Yongsan, Korea for a year. There he showed his love for Christ by starting Bible studies and leading some of his fellow soldiers to Christ. Joey returned from Korea in March of 2005, spent a month of his block leave with me, and then he and I made the long journey to Fort Hood, Texas. Getting to Texas wasn't bad. Getting across Texas took forever. This was a fantastic road trip, and it was the last time we were able to really spend some quality time together. A month before his deployment, he returned home to Discovery Bay to be the best man at my wedding. A week later in Texas, he married his high school sweetheart, Corey. 3 weeks later, he deployed. Over the next 8 months, I heard from Joey often. He would call more than write. We probably talked 2 or 3 times a month. He told me of the progress they were making over there. He and his company really believed in what they were doing in Iraq. They knew they were making a difference. Whenever I showed concern, he would always say, "Don't worry, Dad. We're in one of the safest areas of Iraq." Well, that wasn't exactly true. On 25 July 6, 1st Platoon was on an escort mission outside of Baghdad, 400 meters from the next checkpoint, when they were hit by what was described in the incident report as a well-orchestrated ambush. There was one casualty. Joe, my only son, my only child, was killed when his Humvee was struck by multiple EFPs. We talked about titles earlier. Because of that incident, one title I will never have is Grandpa. I cannot find the words to express how proud I am of my son and how proud I am of all of our military. There will be more conflicts and there will be more casualties. More families will become Gold Star families. But let us not forget what this day, Memorial Day, means. It means honor and remember that they will never be forgotten. Every year to begin the Memorial Day weekend, my wife and I join with thousands of Boy Scouts and volunteers to honor the origin of the holiday. As Bob said, Decoration Day. We get up early, too early, on Saturday morning, and we go to Golden Gate National Cemetery in San Bruno. There, with the Boy Scouts and volunteers, we put over 113,000 flags on each and every headstone. If you have not been over there and seen that, it is spectacular. One of those headstones reads, Specialist Joseph Anthony Graves. I would like to end with a short poem that was presented to me at one of those events by a Gold Star dad a few years ago. And it's entitled, The Last Monday in May. We pause to remember those who died with so much courage, so much pride. They'll never come back, yet memories endure to remind us of freedom, fragile, pure. We're worthy of their sacrifice if we pause each day, not just on the last Monday in May. Thank you very much.